So I kicked off the new year with an event called Vision 2020, which focused specifically on social entrepreneurship. And I had this thought to do this in mind, pretty much because I saw that there was a need to be able to provide foundational information to all business owners. With this particular event, I thought it would be a great idea just to gather a group of individuals who were interested in starting a business, who wanted to learn the fundamentals of what it means to be in a nonprofit, and then also, if you wanted to start a for-profit business, the pros and cons of each one as well. The first thing you have to think about is, going through the phase of concept phase and writing everything down as you want it to appear and you visualize as you want your business to grow. And then on the back end, what we did is we added in a portion specifically for discretionary funding and how you're able to pull that funding in or apply for that funding with the respective politicians that are currently in office. Right now, what I'm really focusing on is anyone who is looking to really try something different in the realm of starting social entrepreneurship. I wanted to make sure that businesses, especially businesses of color, have that, resource and, foundation so that they could be successful long term. Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. Your decisions, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hello there, good people. It is so good to see you. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. We are live. And I am really excited to have this opportunity to share with you a gem who is going to be sharing some really exciting news about the joys and the challenges of entrepreneurship. Welcome to the journey. It is one where we are focusing on entrepreneurships and have the opportunity to be able to share our real experiences. It's so funny. Every time I look at that intro video, I was like, I had bedhead and nobody didn't even tell me to fluff out my afro. So they wasn't even thinking about me. But that's part of the process. We, are in between, motherhood and, creating empires and also legacies for our future. We want independence and to also to create something where we can leave for future generations. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. I say this all the time, just like parenthood. You cannot be a punk and be an entrepreneur and also be a punk and be a parent, especially with my almost 7-year-old. So anyway, when you are in the space of entrepreneurship, it is an opportunity for us, specifically in this space, to be able to talk about, what it really looks like. Entrepreneurship has many benefits, many benefits. But the truth is, the conversations that we have here within this space is one where we are really showing you that it takes a lot in order to be able to get to, certain points within entrepreneurship. It does require having courage, believing in ourselves, believing in our product and services to be able to share with the world. Oftentimes when we are in this space of entrepreneurship, it is one where we try not to keep secrets, but it still is scary as you are banking on yourself with the hopes that we are growing and going to scale and become, these millionaires, but also combining earning income with also, living the life of our dreams. And tonight, I am super excited to be able to bring a special guest to the real journey of the entrepreneur. I think that you will find this particular guest very dope and amazing as I do. Miss Anastasia White holds a BFA in fashion design. And has over 20 years of experience in the corporate design industry. And I promise you, when we say these numbers, we don't look a day over 19. So, you'll see what I mean. She has created and managed women's brands spanning from department stores, media, and online commerce. Alongside establishing herself within the industry, Anastasia has raised two children in Brooklyn, New York. So, anybody from my hometown, I show special favor. While expanding her love for travel and culture, she has traveled the world as a source of self rejuvenation and developed a passion for swimwear. So I am excited to present to most. Some of you may know her because she's going to reveal a little good, some good extra news this evening. Miss Anastasia White. Hi, Anastasia.
Hi, Anita. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you. It's so good to be on. Thank you for having me on this platform and being able to share with your audience.
So, tell us
Mhm.
a little bit about your business and what is not in the bio.
What's not in the bio? I mean, the bio pretty much encompasses a broad scope of what I do. I am actually a native New Orleanian. I was born and raised in New Orleans, but I have been in Brooklyn for, as you've noted, well over 20 years. I consider myself a Brooklynite. I just combine the two. uh, I basically have had art and fashion and design in my blood for as long as I can remember. I basically learned about the art form of fashion and design from my mother at
Mm,
a really young age. So I sort of had this idea in my mind about creating clothes and fashion when I was starting like 5 years old,
wow.
which is when she taught me how to sew. So my mother was a public school teacher and also a wonderful like artist, seamstress, and I watched her make wedding gowns and all sorts of things as I was growing up. So I sort of like learned at her side, and yeah, that was just something I always knew I was going to do. Uh, in high school, I spent my senior year taking half of my school days and going into the local New Orleans Creative Arts Center for Creative Arts. It was
Mhm.
a local high school for arts, which prepared me to create a portfolio that would get enough attention to enter an art school in a competitive space. So I went to Washington University and studied and entered into their fine arts program and majored in fashion design. And the rest is history after that. But yeah, that was the start.
Oh, wow. So you telling me I need to get my daughter sewing that I'm like 2 years late now? She need to.
I mean, that was my path, but I did have classmates who hadn't sewn until they got to the classroom. Oh, that's fine. Actually, my own daughter has sort of picked it up a little bit. Um, she does a lot of upcycling of her
Mm.
clothing, so she'll take out the sewing machine every once in a while. But also her grandmother taught her. Surprisingly, it wasn't me.
And that's really amazing. So tell us the name of your business and what is it exactly?
So the name of my business is Crescent Bleu. It's a sustainable swimwear brand, which basically means I'm doing fashion in a way that is sort of opposite from the direction that it has been going over the last couple of decades. When I graduated from college, I went home for a little while and then eventually moved to New York a year after I graduated and basically started in the private label design space, which basically looks like companies taking on design of other brands, private house brands that want us to develop product for them under their label. So I did that for quite a while, always in women's wear. Um, Always sort of like casual workwear. I dabbled in activewear a little bit, never swimwear. That was basically what I decided to do on my own outside of that. Um, I'm sorry, I lost track of the question. So, yeah, uh, that was basically my career path. I worked with, smaller private label companies, but then I also worked with two larger corporations, Federated Merchandising Group. I worked for like a spinoff private label from Federated. And then I eventually worked for May Company Merchandising, which was the other largest global retailer. And while I was at May Company, I did private label design specifically for Lord and Taylor.
Mm.
And after leaving there, my longest private label stint with my last company also gave me more experience with developing product for Lord and Taylor. I did Macy's, the discounters, Steinmart, Marshalls, all those good things, and saw a variety of practices evolving in the fashion industry. And as you can see now, it's highly popularized that people are talking about fast fashion being harmful to the planet and to people. And it's something that I was thinking about for a while. And as you noticed, like I like to travel. And so I'm always sort of like packing my bag with swimwear. And if I'm going solo, it's swimwear and it's yoga. Specifically, there was this one trip that I took to Tulum, Mexico, solo. I want to say maybe my son was, yeah, he was maybe like 1 or 2. And my parents always did me the wonderful favor of helping me over the summer breaks by taking my kids for a good number of weeks.
Mm.
And I said, I'm going to Tulum, Mexico. I went on sort of this health retreat. It was called Bikini Boot Camp, you know. And
Mm.
so the only thing that was in my bags were swimwear, yoga. And I remember sitting on the beach going, I love to travel. I didn't love shopping for swimwear, but
Mm.
I love the challenge of trying to find something that was, you know, acceptable and um, to what I wanted to wear for my body type, for my activities. And I sort of started to note that people that I knew, my friends, were also looking for the same sorts of things. And it became sort of, I'm like, oh, I know a swimsuit that you could get. And I kind of like had my favorites that I would, pop into my friends' inboxes and say, you should get this one. And, I said, so why not? If I know, what it looks like that, myself and my friends are looking for, why not try to figure out a way to offer that? And it got to a point in my career where the last company that I was working with started to downsize rapidly. And that was my opportunity to sort of like take this thing that I had been dreaming about for a while and bring it to fruition.
Oh, wow. So, all right. So your reason was now like an opportunity to be able to create sustainability for in swimwear. So that's relatively new information for me. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it is. So when I think about what sustainability looks like, I'm not thinking about clothing. I'm thinking about like cars and
Right.
like
Okay.
that. So I'm not so this is like a new arena in terms of like learning that yes, everything that we do does have an impact long term on the earth, the space that we're responsible for. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting to hear that that is what your product is. Um,
Yes. Yeah. So it's interesting you should say that. It's funny. Not a lot of people realize the impact, the global impact that fashion has had, not just on the environment, but on people, the people who make it. Um, in the fashion space where people are talking about sustainability and what they call slow fashion, which is when you're doing intentionally less of a production so that there's not a whole lot of waste, like you're not making tens of thousands of things. Not to call any names, but in the news you'll hear a lot Fashion Nova, ASOS. You'll hear a lot about people doing overproduction.
mm,
Um, a lot of criticism about where the garments are being made, how the workers are being treated. And I mean, I can remember specifically at one point in my career, there was a tragedy in India called Rana Plaza tragedy. Not
mm,
too many people know about it. The factory collapsed
wow,
on so many people. And it was kind of like just a blip in the conversation in the fashion industry. But it was one event, but it's not an isolated event. And it's something that happened despite many attempts to say, there's a lot of code violations, there's things that need to be rectified here. People working extra hours that they, almost kind of against their will. There's a lot of that. So yeah, it's just like a lot of that stuff over time when you hear it, it's just like, what are we really doing as an industry?
mm,
You know, yes, price point is important. I know that specifically as a mom, as a single mom, like, I'm like, we need the price to be right because these kids, their feet change 3 times a year while they're growing up. The coats, you're in a coat for 1, 2 years, different seasons, like it's a lot. But one of the things is the pollution of fabric materials. Overproduction leads to excessive waste in the landfills, and to me, it's yes, sustainability exists in so many places. In swimwear, the fabric and materials part of it is just one tiny part to me. There's also the um, like I said, where it's being made and who you're partnering with, what those factories stand for, how they're treating their workers. And then there's also shipping and packaging. So I choose to do it in an eco-friendly way by shipping in biodegradable packaging. You can
mm,
literally cut it up and stick it in your yard and it'll disintegrate eventually. Um, and then there's also the other portion that I eventually want to expand on is community, right? So there's the opportunity for this to not only just be about swimwear, but swimwear that celebrates women, diverse bodies, upholds, our interests, and just me as a brand finding a way to collaborate with others that are doing work in those arenas so that Crescent Blue can stand for a lot more.
wow. Okay, now let me see what my follow-up question is gonna be. So, okay, so, usually not stumped for where to go next, but because you packed in so much good
I
info,
know, I'm sorry.
and I want to find out, okay, first, what were your startup costs like? So I'll start there, then like, go through the other questions because I think that you mentioned about, your packaging and, making sure that, it's kind to the earth, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Degrades at some point. And also really thinking about startup costs. What does that look like for, specifically for what you do? And um since you are, the creative behind it, um, what does that look like in terms of picking, design and style,
mm.
etc. So let's start with cost first.
So costs conservatively for what I'm doing are around 25. And
Okay.
the reason why I say very like conservatively is because a lot of it was sweat equity from me.
Hmm.
You know, the things that many people would hire out to do a clothing brand, I was doing it. So developing the product, doing the visuals, the graphics, the logos, um, actually fitting the garments and sending that back. But to stay on task with the question, 25 conservatively um, pretty much got me from through research and development up to launch.
Wow.
And yeah, because it's a a longer process, right? It's like usually people see what's happening when you launch or even what's happening now, but not the years that came before that. Um, where you were spending money doing different things. So, starting with incorporating, as an LLC, that was the first step. Well, kind of not the first step. I had already traveled to meet my vendors in Bali, which, I kind of tied that love of travel into what I'm doing. And, even that was a conservative cost because I went basically on a trip that was curated by another entrepreneur friend of mine who creates these amazing excursions, and I was able to take advantage of that.
Hmm.
So yeah, 25.
And so now, now that you have this business start, when did you start your business?
I launched July of 2020. So yeah, not by
The
choice,
middle of a
obviously.
pandemic. And why we're laughing because it's like the middle of a pandemic is like, are you nuts? But are you nuts? It's like, why not start a business, right?
It's funny. You would think I was nuts. I probably I probably am a little nuts. And like I said, it wasn't on purpose. The funny thing is when you see something, and I've had this happen when I'm applying for different grants or different like community like business resourcing. Over the last year and a half, there was a lot of were you in business before
Hmm.
by April of 2020? And it's like I wasn't launched. But I spent a whole lot of money before April of 2020, knowing that I was going to launch. And it's like the cutoff, you started your business
Mhm.
after the
Yep.
deadline. And it's just like, it was just so disappointing to like not have access to some opportunities because of that timeline thing. But it's like, yeah, I consider, I wasn't, in revenues, I was pre-revenue, but I was in business because there was a lot on the line and there was production being made, foot on the pedal, and there was no stopping at all.
And so, yes, we are crazy. Yes,
Yeah.
we
So,
really we really are. But it's good though.
yeah.
And you should be really excited about, expanding your courage because like who would have? Only those who have the courage to jump into the space of entrepreneurship because as I stated, it's not for punks. Like it's really it's really not. So it's funny that you mentioned about, what your pre-start looked like and that before you got to launch there was a lot of work that went into getting to at least that stage. Do you want to unpack what that looked like for you during that process?
Sure. Let's see. I would say the most tangible thing that started it was traveling to Bali to meet my vendors, which also was kind of crazy because not only was going there was not the crazy part. Um, Sort of cold calling the vendors when I got there was the crazy part. Hi, I'm here from Brooklyn. I was trying to call you before I got here. You know, um, but I had a connection to a safe driver, and since Bali is a beautiful place, like the people are just like really super amazing and helpful. But yeah, there was like a lot of knock, 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 and I, yeah, so I was able to reach out to someone that I had researched for a while, but hadn't gotten a chance to get in touch with them. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to Bali and show up and see what's up. And
Mm.
luckily it worked out. They were very interested in what I wanted to do. And so that started that portion of it. After coming home, there was, putting tech packages together, which is basically like, your sketches, your measurements and plans for what you're making, passing that over to, they call it a handover
Mm.
to the factory. And then you get proto samples back. You get the proto samples back, basically, have they executed what I wanted them to do? You give little tweaks or comments, send it back, and then maybe take one more sample or two. And I my it's important to note that my swimwear is not, it's not made from blanks. Like I see a lot of
Mm.
companies out, especially because I'm inclusive sizes. So there are a lot of people that say like, we're inclusive size swimwear, we're inclusive size fashion, and they're stopping at size 14. Or they're calling it a 2X, but the 2X wouldn't fit a size 12. So I'm
Oh,
not doing that.
I'm so glad to hear that because I
Right?
get it causes a lot of stress and anxiety when you're like, well, this is a 2X, but like it's not. Yeah, it's. I'm glad
Yeah.
to hear that. So
I
yes,
mean, I can actually see it on the website. If I pull up a
Mm.
size chart, I'm like, that's absolutely not what you're saying it is.
Mm.
So everything is done. My designs are custom designed. They're custom fit to my specifications, and I fit them on a live model. So that was the next part, was researching and finding my live model that I wanted. So you can tell from my visuals on my site, my launch was very much intentionally centered around celebrating Black women, because part of my my experience with travel, when I'm solo, or even when I'm traveling with my kids and with other families, it's Black families in my community, friends of mine, or new women that I've met on curated travels. And we're sort of like sharing the same experiences. And I don't, even in launching, I just didn't really see images of us celebrated in the way that I wanted to see it. And I'm talking about images like on a landing page that I needed before I actually had what I was going to create, because we were in COVID and I couldn't shoot.
Right. Yes.
Um, so that was a very intentional thing. So when it came to the fit, when I was calling around the agencies, I was like, hey, I need a Black model, size 8'10", medium. That was my preference. And I had a certain body type in mind, which in swimwear, is a malleable prototype. Like,
Right.
but I just knew what I wanted to fit on in terms of starting. So I found that model, and we were able to fit on her. And once you do that, you sort of approve the samples, and then that starts the process of finalizing your order and getting your bulk production made.
Oh wow.
So that was maybe January, February of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
when you're just starting to see things on the news, and you're like, oh wow, that's something else that's happening over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Wow.
And I started talking with my photographer and website developer, and then probably almost as immediately as we started talking, everything was shut down. And I was just sitting there like, wow, I just sunk a lot of money, even at the time, thinking, and I have, like I said, two kids. So then school was shut down. So we're all sitting at home with, new realities. And I'm like, okay, everybody kind of thought the first, couple of weeks or whatever that we would be back, maybe April, May, and then no. So that was very stressful. That was really stressful because I didn't know when I was really gonna launch. I didn't know when I was really gonna finalize all the assets for my brand. Um, and then even when we found out that we could go forward, now we're sort of, we're locked down. So who's buying swimwear? And no, everybody's unemployed. So who has money? Who's shopping? Yeah.
And that's what makes it exciting, because you can look back now, right, and be like, "Ooh, I'm glad I stuck with it," right? Because something happened on Friday. Really,
Yes.
really exciting. My daughter and I was actually screaming, like, "She's in the top 3. Yeah." We were like, yeah, like it was just like a whole big production up in here. So tell us about what that joy through all the
Oh
challenge
man,
experience
that's
before. Tell us
so,
about that joy.
so again, like you see, like the culmination of what happened on Friday. I have been in here YouTubing, Zooming, going Brooklyn Public Librarying, Canva, business. I fund women, like all these different community resources, which I think I wrote about it earlier today or yesterday, that the importance of just really taking hold of every opportunity, every valuable opportunity that there is to take advantage of. And I've been learning a lot, and just learning a lot, and also just keeping at it, because that, I don't know how many times I've applied to a grant or a pitch competition. When I opened my mail and saw that I was not first a semifinalist and then had to be voted in as a finalist, which people came through and did it, like I was just blown away. But that Friday, ball of nerves. Ball of nerves for doing that for the first time live at all, and then live, and in that much detail about my business. Like that was just, but again, I was prepared for that by the opportunities that I've been taking. Like, don't underestimate like your local, the libraries just have such amazing program. I could speak for Brooklyn. The Brooklyn libraries have amazing programming. So that was a culmination of that. And I, just to be on that stage with those women who had achieved what they achieved in their businesses was already just mind blowing for me. But when I got called for, placed for the top 3, wow. And then my phone started a little bit, but I had it on silent. And the host Aisha asked, people to start like rating who they thought, and my dad was like Crescent Bleu.
Yeah, we did too.
Yes.
We did too. I was like, "Yup, we gonna
I
win.
saw, yeah, I saw your comment
We
too.
gonna win
Yeah.
something." It was
It
exciting.
was
It was just like
exciting.
really exciting to see that process. So what we are talking about is pitch competitions. For
Yeah.
small businesses, that is another way, if you're looking to help to fund and grants that you don't have to pay back, resources that you don't have to pay back, it is just really exciting to, you have to pitch, you have to be able to, some competitions are really more detailed. You have to be prepared. I think some may require you to enter with like a video to in order to be able to enter into the
I
competition.
had to do a video for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
And it's just like, so it's there, that is this another way, because a lot of times, as Anastasia was mentioning about the free resources, a lot of times we just don't have it in the beginning. We don't, like, I'm not trying to front at all. If you'd have talked to me a couple of years ago, I'd have been like, I'm in business, I think.
No, I get that. You know, it we talked about this. You wake up one day and it's like,
Yep.
a little bit of an ugly cry because you just don't know what you're doing, or, that's just the reality of it. And you got to pull yourself together, like, and then just keep going. But yeah, the grant piece of it. And there's so many of them out there, and you're gonna get so many no's. So many no's. That's the thing. It's like now I have a spreadsheet, and I just have like like I'm almost treating it like a, it's just like a rote, process. This is the grant. This is when it's due. This is the link. This is it. What was the response? Yes, no. And I'm just like, next, okay. And I have it by due date. A friend of mine laughed. She's like, "Oh, it's kind of like college applications." I'm like, "Hey, something like that, yeah." That's really what it is, and just keeping at it. Oh, and learning too. A part of the process of being ready for a pitch is watching pitches. I've watched so many pitches. It's kind of like my new television watching. I watch pitch competitions.
And so, yes.
And I'm taking notes every time I watch them. I'm taking notes.
And so let's talk about your products behind you, because we have an array of products behind swimwear that is favorable for women of color, specifically my body. So when I saw my body on your website, but not really my body, but my body type, I was very, very excited. So would you mind sharing for
Yes.
inquiring minds who want to know?
Yeah. So let me give you a little bit of what we have on the model right now, the fit form, is the Simone strapless top. And this is the Kari bottom, which I'll show you here. It has this little side detail, the strappy side detail. This is one of my best sellers, that and the top, the Layla top, which I offer in 3 colors. I have it in the daffodil, the red, and I also have it in olive. So it comes in these 3 colors.
Wow.
Also the top. And then the other thing about my swimwear is it's mix and match. So you don't have to buy the entire set. They're priced separately, because some people like to, I'm going to wear the yellow bottom, Kari bottom with the red strapless. This is another way you can wear the red strapless. This is my cheeky bottom. This is if you want to, put a little bit more cheek out.
I mean, I want them all, but I don't know how comfortable I feel with the cheeky out.
This right now is my only one piece, but I do recognize that it's a monokini, so it's still a lot out. So right now I'm actually developing my first full body one piece. And it's basically going to be a scoop back with, some cross action on it. This one comes in pink and it comes in the olive, and it's really popular. Some people have been asking me to bring it back in black, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that. And then we have this, which is slightly more athletic piece people have been loving, and it only comes in the navy, but it has this little peekaboo that everybody loves in the front and in the back. And then it has this little peekaboo action here, which was really funny. I did a pop-up this summer in front of the museum, and it's funny meeting my customers. There was a family, and the husband wanted to know what's happening at the back with the peekaboo at the butt. And the wife is like slapping him, and the kid is laughing. It was funny. But he was asking all the right questions.
So your tops are made for women who are have large breasts.
I mean, I would say both. I've had probably, I don't sell an extra small yet. I go small to extra large. So my small is around a 4'6", and my extra large is 16, 18. And I'm adding extra large before I go back and add the extra small, because I just haven't had traction there yet.
Okay.
Um, I've had women up to a size G in these tops.
Mhm.
You can see them on the website actually. The
And
only thing is like it just wouldn't be a strapless. The strapless wouldn't be the choice.
okay.
But but yeah. And I don't call myself there are swimwear companies that are cup specific.
Mhm.
I don't call myself like I don't do that yet. Um someone's
So yeah,
asking
so
if
so
Crescent Bleu
Diane says like the one piece that's on her site, crescentblue.com. So the
it's
ones
got
that
co.
is dot co, yeah. So yeah, those are the ones that that Anastasia is showing. Those are the ones that are existent on the site. So somebody putting in a plug talking about making sweatshirts. This is swimwear specifically for me. This is yeah.
I just did a fun crowdfund campaign that
Mhm.
closed maybe 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And I did have like a Supima cotton tee with
Mm.
a Crescent Blue logo on it. Actually, not my logo. It was not my logo, but it's custom artwork that's designed from one of the photographs in my shoot.
Oh, that's beautiful. Is that on the site or is that
It's not on the site. This was exclusive to the fundraiser, the crowdfund, but the
oh,
crowdfund is closed. But Anita, I got you.
oh, yeah.
Um, I didn't make them in bulk. I made them to order for the people who were supporting the crowdfund.
Okay.
According to what reward they were selecting for their contribution.
Okay, I'm
Um,
gonna have to buy one. I want one. I want to buy one. Um, so yes. You're mentioning crowdfunding, right?
mhm.
Would you be able
Oh,
to
yeah.
explain briefly like what, for those as another way in which to raise capital for your business, capital
That's a
means.
really important thing to highlight because I honestly, all this stuff, we're talking about journey of the entrepreneur. A lot of stuff I'm learning on the fly,
Mhm.
right? I never even considered that crowdfunding was a viable way to fund my business before I started. Like I
Mhm.
just didn't even think about it. And I want to say maybe like 5 months into after my launch is when I discovered iFund Women
Mhm.
and all the learning opportunities that they had and different resources that they had. And one of them is a crowdfunding platform that's also backed by support on their end in terms of like learning and getting the best practices for how to run a good crowdfund campaign.
Mhm.
So what it looks like, it's not just throwing up the fund and saying, "Hey, fund my business." You know, there was a pitch that needed to be made. I made a 3-minute pitch video, basically done according to their proven method of like, this is how it should be structured. This is the information that needs to be included. So I did that. Um, but also there's the campaign piece of it, right? Like you sort of have to like locate your network beforehand. Hey guys, as you know, I've started this business and I'm raising money to do XYZ. Do you think that you can be a part of this? And if so, what kinds of rewards, because mine was a reward based campaign, what kind of rewards would you be interested in seeing in exchange for your contribution?
Mm.
So there was that whole piece of it. And then sort of figuring out that reward strategy in a way that you can fulfill the rewards at a rate that gives you enough of a profit margin so that it makes sense for you to, offer the reward for the contribution. Um, and some of it, they kind of like taught us how to expand the idea of the reward being not just your product, but something else that you could offer. So in that respect, there was a t-shirt, there was some experiences. I was offering, branding consultations as well, like different things that you as a founder could offer in exchange for contributions. And then um, while that whole contribution campaign engine is turning, there's the marketing aspect, marketing it when someone is supporting it, marketing the actual rewards, and then thanking everybody. Like it's just this, cycle of, it's a huge engine that just keeps, you have to have a lot of energy and time for it. Um, it's a lot.
So has your campaign, is it completed, or are you still, raising resources to help support
I
your
I
business?
closed it, but
Okay.
I have had people message me that said they wanted to support it, but they just missed, that how it is, how life is. I was doing other things and I saw that it was closing. I forgot. Would you still? Yeah, yeah, you can still support me. I'll take it. So figured out a way to work something out on the side and just add them on the back end of my campaign, and process their reward along with everyone else's. Um,
Is it okay that I show the link that you shared with me for the iFund
well,
Women?
yes, yeah.
So, if you are interested in supporting Crescent Blue for the campaign is still, you can still support. And I always say that you're funding someone's dream, but also think about when we go out to these major stores and we go to like places like Target and all these other places and spend, refund, and still spend again. Think about, put your face behind Anastasia, put your money behind Anita, and just thinking about what you're doing to help to build our dreams. Because just as much as we are, doing Black Friday and doing all these other things, the impact is a lot different and a lot stronger when you are able to support small businesses. And so at the bottom, I have Anastasia's also website, contact information at the bottom, Instagram, like, follow, share, because these are the ways in which, it doesn't cost anything to you if you share, information about, the process as to what Anastasia has gone through, has shared a wealth of resources, just in terms of her process. It's not a cookie cutter process, but this is actually what she has experienced thus far as an entrepreneur. So I wanted to also ask you, as we wrap up, what are some, from your experience thus far, someone who decides that they want to create sustainable, not swimwear, but sustainable fashion, what will be some realistic tips that you can offer in order for them to, follow in a similar path
Mm.
that you have gone in so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the best thing to do, and I actually didn't do it out, out the gate, because again, I was learning on the fly and doing things. Even though this was my career experience, getting the idea on paper as early as possible, so you can kind of see what you're doing. And there's a traditional business plan, but there's also like a one pager, like to kind of figure out how you're structuring this, how it's going to happen. Um, I didn't do that.
Mm.
I don't, I don't know. Maybe part of it was just my industry knowledge already. But I do know that once I did do it, things got a whole lot clearer. It did make, I'm not saying that the ins and outs of entrepreneurship went away. It just made things clearer. So like I could wake up and cry, but no, that by 2 p.m. I need to do whatever or whenever, to achieve the next step. So I would say plan to paper, but also do your research and just soak up everything that you can. One of the first things that I did before before ever spending any money developing anything was I knew that I was interested in this whole like eco innovative design, which I'm sorry, I don't know if I mentioned the reason why this is sustainable fabric is because it's made from marine uh, plastic wastes and things, post consumer waste from the landfills. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, it's eco innovative fabric that's regenerated nylon. So it's 93% regenerated nylon and 7 elastin. And but the nylon is regenerated from post consumer wastes. But it feels, when I tell you, this fabric is so luxurious. All my pieces are double lined, so it gives you this extra like support. But anyway, back to the important part of the question. So before I ever even developed anything, I started researching, and there were a lot of different forums talks about sustainability in fashion, and I just dove into learning in all of them. So, um, what's the name of it? Slow Factory is one of the online profiles that I followed a lot. They did in 2019, January 2019, they did a big um, symposium. I want to say at with the New York Times, I think, in that building. But there was just a big symposium with so many different people that are part of that industry explaining what it is and what the challenges are in the industry. Eileen Fisher had a workshop. Just, I research and I see these things online. Eileen Fisher has a component of her company that actually educates other brands and other companies. They don't hold it as proprietary information. They're like, you can apply to come and, learn from this company and how to replicate it at your company. So I went to, discussions that had local influencers in sustainability on a panel and sat and learned from them and networked. Just have to sort of like dive into that community and kind of figure out what it's all about. And then what are the aspects that you want to retain for your business? That whole like sustainability and eco-friendly piece can get a little bit territorial, just like with anything. And people could be like, you're not really sustainable because you do this and you're not. It's a it's your own journey, and there's levels to it. No one is 100% perfectly, sustainable. But it's like, what are you doing that you feel is the most impactful for your business, for your end result? Start there, and don't be concerned about it being the perfect model of whatever anybody says it has to be. It's yours.
So y'all hear it. So listen, we ain't got no excuses. No excuses, no excuses. Make sure that you study your craft, right? And be open to learning. Anastasia was very clear in stating that
Absolutely.
there's still ongoing learning,
All
right?
the time. All the time. And I've done this for a really long time, the design part of it.
Hmm.
But with a business and fashion, like the design part is this much. It
Mm.
really is. Like once I developed this product and had it going, like now it can be replicated. I can cut this in other colors without the initial investment of time and everything that I've done. I could do prints, which is, up next. But it's really everything else, learning and never, not being closed to like, oh, I already know. You don't. You still don't, even after that, that victory on Friday gave me the encouragement to keep going. That was like, a really important win for me, but it gives me the encouragement to keep getting out there and keep exposing myself to new opportunities and just keep going.
And so on that note, I hope you come back. I hope you come
I
back.
will.
Because I'm sure you have more to share. You have more to share. This is just a little bit of a peek into what your journey is like. So I'm excited to see what you are going to do next. So I want to wrap up the show, which is not really like the end of the show, but even more so like just doing some rapid fire questions about
Hmm.
really learning about who you are.
Okay.
So you ready?
Yeah.
Favorite borough?
Brooklyn, of course.
Okay, side note. I just want to put this out there. If anybody watches my shows, everybody who says Brooklyn says it like, how dare you ask me?
I was waiting for some. I'm like, what?
Like, how dare you? That's a Brooklyn thing.
I don't even leave. I don't even leave Brooklyn if I don't have to. Like, what
So,
else is there? Okay. Oh.
so what do you do in your downtime?
Can I say that there's not a whole lot of downtime? That's probably something I need to work on. But prior to this, I all my favorite downtime activity was playing capoeira,
What's that?
the Afro-Brazilian martial art
Oh,
capoeira, when
now you
they
don't
in
have
the
me for
circle with the drum, and I miss that community a whole lot. That's my family outside of everything.
So clearly I need to do some research. Okay.
The pandemic took that away, but then my business kind of kept me from it
Mm,
longer. So, but I don't know. Maybe I hope to go back.
okay. Well, to be continued.
We continue.
Pizzas or burger?
Veggie burger.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Smoothie or ice cream?
Smoothie. I don't like ice cream.
That's interesting. That's the first. That's the first. In 3 years, what will change within your community?
Mm.
And that doesn't have to be a one word, but if you can swing it in one word.
Ah. Oh, Anita, that's not an easy fun one. Let's see. What's
Yes,
gonna
it is.
change in my community where I live?
I'm open to your interpretation of the question.
I'm gonna say in my business community,
Hmm.
because I consider Crescent Blue, my Crescent Blue crew, to be my community. Um, I'm gonna say interaction.
Hmm.
That's my one word. And
Interaction.
I'm thinking of a whole lot of things with
Okay.
that.
And the legacy that you would like to leave your family doesn't have to, this doesn't have to be one word if you want to elaborate on it.
Mm, wow. That's also deep. I've been asked this question before. Um, wow. The legacy of trying your best and never giving up.
Mm.
I I mean, I said it before, but I really think that that's the overarching theme, not just in business, but literally in my day to day. So just keep, because a lot of times it just really looks like this is not working. But as soon as you stop, it doesn't, right? So it's just, to keep a level head about it and keep going. I hope that I'm, exemplifying that for my kids.
I think we're all proud of you. I know I am.
Thank
Having
you.
just met you this year, I know I am. So I'm going to just scan. I probably should have put this out there earlier, but if there are any questions from our live audience, I would love to bring you on. We can't see your face, but we can feel your heart, soul, and spirit. I have a comment here that probably related to you. When you were mentioning about your cup size,
Hmm.
mom says she has a G cup and has the one piece in olive. So thanks. Who's
Oh,
Miss?
that's my dad.
Shout out to the family
Look,
that
let
we out
me
here
tell you, my
supporting.
dad has been taken on the voluntary role of PR manager over the last few weeks. I open my Facebook, my Instagram. My dad is very much the up on the social.
Thanks, Dad. We appreciate that. But you want to know something? Just as a side note, that's what happens in entrepreneurship. You have family members who are believing in you and your dream. That kind of
Mhm.
helps to kind of like keep you going, and that's
Mhm.
pretty amazing that you have family support. That's
Oh yeah, I definitely have that.
it's
I have
priceless.
family support. I have friend support. One, like I did pop-ups over the summer.
Hmm.
My sister came, she would pick me up in the morning. Like I would grab all of this times five and
Mm,
pack it in her car. She dropped me off at the Brooklyn Museum, sometimes staying out there with me. Another really good friend of mine and her husband, Alicia. I don't know if she's watching. She's not in. They came, helped me set up, and she worked a few events with me this summer. So like I definitely, you know, am a solopreneur, but not, solo. I have support. That's the other thing. Get your support and don't be afraid to accept the help.
very true. So, on that note, I want you to come back again
Okay.
and again and share us any new updates, any new
Mhm.
products that you have. So again, if you all are planning to shop, you may not be traveling, or if you are traveling to a warm climate, please think about Crescent Blue in terms of like your sustainable swimwear. So now I'm even more excited to support because like, hey, why not, right? Why not? And so, on that note, Anastasia, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the real journey of the entrepreneur and sharing a portion of your journey. We look forward to supporting you. And I'm also going to put up the link again if you want to support um, the crowdfunding campaign because there's still opportunity for you to support and also buy products as well. So,
Right.
gonna
I would just like to clarify though, in the link, you won't be able to do anything from that page. It's
uh,
the links are not no longer active.
got it.
But that email that says hello at Crescent Blue, if there's something that you're interested in, you can reach out to us there.
Okay, great. So that's great. So I have the email there, Instagram. Please like, follow, share. And
Mhm.
Anastasia, I'm going to
Mhm.
send you off with some warm kisses, virtual
Thank
kisses. Thank you so
you.
much. Congratulations. Much,
Thank you.
much success. And if you are celebrating Thanksgiving, enjoy your
Thank you.
time. Hopefully, you
Thank
get
you.
somewhat a break. But also make sure you share, like, follow, and also purchase. If your budget lends to it, please consider supporting Anastasia and the beautiful swimwear that
We
she.
have gift cards.
And we have gift cards if you don't want to buy now. That's really important. That's really important. Gift cards are clutch. So please consider doing so. So bye bye, Anastasia.
Bye bye, Nina.
All
Bye,
right,
everyone.
take care.
Thank you. All right.
So I'm telling you, black women are dope. Like we are really doing things that are making us and our souls tick. So I always have like some information in wrapping up these shows for small businesses. So as Anastasia mentioned, yes, free services. We have all of the Chamber of Commerce if you are within the footprint of the five boroughs. There's also a U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce and also upstate New York Black Chamber of Commerce. If you're looking to expand and connect across the region, there you have it. Tell them that Anita sent you. Not a plug, but just a way to connect and say, hey, this is where I found the information. And so if you are looking for free resources such as, legal support, website support, the New York City Small Business Resource Network, they offer one-on-one services for small businesses. You can sign up using the link below. And again, you can connect and also get the information that you need in order to support your business. And yes, the information is free. And also a lot of the services that I am going to be promoting during this ending, it's for free. Also wanted to plug some information about loan funds. So oftentimes you do not have to do this by yourself. If you are a business, starting business, there are a lot of ways in which you can raise capital. Anastasia mentioned about crowdfunding, crowdfunding, and what that could look like for small businesses. But you may be at a point where you need a loan. So um, it's leveraging other folks' money. Yes, there are some criterias, but this is the Brooklyn Accelerated Loan Fund. There is the link in which you can take advantage of and be able to capitalize on those resources. Also, wanted to point out True Fund. True Fund is an organization that provides, resources, funding, loans, etc., for small businesses. Again, you do not have to do this all by yourself. These are other resources in which you can tap into in order to be able to support your journey of entrepreneurship. Wanted to also plug that there are a number of other grants. Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. They have small business training and other resources that you can take advantage of. So this is the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. The link is there. What I am going to do is I realize that these are links. I'm actually going to plug these on the business page of 11375 and also the journey of the entrepreneur, so that you can actually grab the links and be able to take advantage of the resources. The other thing is there is a certification that the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce offers. This is a certification if you want to use and promote your business. That opportunity does exist there that you can take advantage of. There is another grant opportunity through UBS and helloalice.com. Again, I'm just plugging a lot of the information and resources that you can take advantage of. Yes, a lot of these resources do require for you to be in business for a year, some 6 months. As we have gone on within the pandemic, I think most organizations are recognizing that you have to start at a certain point, but if they really are looking to deepen the support for small businesses, then perhaps they may need, there are certain levels in which you can enter into these different grants. There is another one through with Dove Chocolate. I know that was, you had to submit like a video. This one is through the NAACP. They have a number of resources. You can find it and it exists there. And then finally, LegalZoom. So I know many of us, when we are getting started, a lot of us use those online resources such as LegalZoom, but I know that they do have a grant or an opportunity where they will be, I think it's like $10,000, and then they give you like $500 and like free resources to cover your legal stuff when you're starting a business. So again, all these links will be posted on the business page on Instagram and Facebook. But I'm also going to share some more resources, because one of the things that I'm super passionate about is making sure you get all the free stuff and that you don't, and that you can minimize your cost as you are starting your small business. So I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. It means a great deal for myself, for you to be able to come out and watch, share, and join the conversation. We will be back on next week, where we will have another entrepreneur who's willing to and very courageous enough to sit with me, but also to be able to share the process of what being a media agency looks like. So I want to thank you for joining. Please be sure to stay tuned. Please like, share, and follow so that you can stay abreast as to what's coming. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.